Barry, would you lead us in the pledge and prayer, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please, God, come together towards tonight to help this council make the best decision for the citizens of Boonville. Amen.
Amen. Amber, can you do roll call, please?
Elbert,
Here.
Venable,
Here.
Davis,
Here.
Atkinson,
Here.
Young,
Here.
Overstreet, Yoder,
Here.
Cowherd,
Here.
Harville.
Here.
Great. Do we have any citizens' comments tonight? Yes, ma'am. We're limited to 3 minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
There you go.
Good
5
evening.
minutes.
My name is Mary Ellen McVicker, and I am a member of the Ad Hoc Sculpture Committee that is working on a bust of Reverend Dr. C.T. Vivian, who grew up here in Boonville. I thought I'd like to give you an update and a report on that tonight. And I have two members of the committee here with me, Mr. Hurt and Mr. Nauman. Both are serving on the committee. And I'm going to start, let me give you my phone and pass that around, that the bust has been completed. And that is a picture of the clay model. And the lady is Jane Mudd, who did the sculpture for us. It is now at the foundry and being cast in bronze. The pedestal upon which it will sit has been procured, and it's here in Boonville, isn't it? It's in Fayette. It's in Fayette at the moment. Okay, it's close. And the plaque with the biographical information that we put on the front of each one of those, that has been done. Brett Rogers and Bev Rogers wrote the document, and it is now at the been ordered and will be ready. So we are good to go. And in conversations with the family, we have set the dedication now. The dedication will be on Saturday, August the 3rd, 2024, at the Sculpture Park at 9 o'clock in the morning. And the family is coming from Atlanta, Georgia, for the dedication. And we hope you will all mark your calendars and plan to be there as well. As you know, August 3rd, the low for the night might be 76 rather than the high, so it can be hotter than Hades. So as soon as we get through at the park, we're going to scurry across the street to the Methodist Church, because their fellowship hall is air conditioned, and have our reception at the fellowship hall. So I wanted to give you an update, let you know what is happening. This has just been an amazing project. We did not have to send out any fundraising letters. People called us with donations.
Awesome.
I've done fundraising for many, many, many years. And usually you have that time where you go, oh dear Lord, we're not going to make it. This was the easiest thing I've ever done. So we wanted to come and give you an update about what is going on. Didn't want you to think that we'd forgotten you or that we weren't making any progress. And we'd be happy to answer any questions anybody might have, if there are any.
August the 3rd at what time?
9 o'clock in the morning. We're going to try to get there as early as we can. There are no trees down there. So no matter what time we go, it's going to be hot. We know that. But this is what works the best in the schedule for everybody. At least it isn't January.
If there's inclement weather, would we make alternative plans as necessary? I mean,
If there's inclement weather, we'll stand there with an umbrella, say, thank God it's raining because we need it,
Fair
and
enough.
go from there. Just cut it short and speak in the basement of Methodist Church if we have to. Or, yeah, we could do a tent or something like that if we have to. Yeah.
that'd be good anyway, too.
Yeah. All righty. Well, thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing all of you in August.
Thank you.
Mary Ellen, could you sign in, please?
Oh, yes, and we also want to say, Mr. Hurt's exactly right. Thank you so much for the donation from the local agency funding. That has made a huge difference in our ability to raise the money for this project, and we very much appreciate it. And as you can see, if you look here, Jane Mudd, the sculptor, did include his Medal of Freedom that the president gave him on the bust, which I think is going to be a very nice addition.
Excellent.
So, thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you, Mary Ellen.
Let me get out of here. I got to write this here if somebody else needs to talk.
You got 20 seconds. I'm just kidding.
August the 3rd, you didn't say where at on August 3rd, did you?
It's,
At August 3rd at the Sculpture Park at the corner of Main and Morgan.
Yeah, that's a
Northwest-
Saturday. Yeah, and that's a Saturday, just FYI.
Yeah, it's a Saturday, and it's at the northwest corner of Main and Morgan, where the Hannah Cole statue is as well. And we thank Mr. Linhart, who has worked very diligently with us on this project as well, so we appreciate it.
Thank you, Mary Ellen.
Thank you. I'm running away, I had something.
Hi, guys, thank you.
Yes, sir. Please sign in, and you have 5 minutes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marty Stover from the Cooper Lodge 36 in Boonville, Missouri, up here on Main Street across from the middle school. And we was in the process of buying a LED sign. We thought that the restrictions, I just want to verify the restrictions. We know we can't put another one out, but we was going to make this one 41 inches long and 16 inches tall and set it on top of the existing sign that's up there. I didn't think it'd be a problem, but I just wanted to double check before that we done that. And it could be used, that sign will be used from the Shrine Club and the Masonic Lodge, plus if there's anything when we go dark or something that needs to be put up, we can put that up there too. We can put anything on it we want. We're just gonna put directly on the same sign, the same signage that we have up there, be on top of that. And while we're doing that, we're gonna put the light that shines on our flag. We've been told that it's not properly lit, so we're gonna have that put up there right too. And also we found, and we put a cone in, we're gonna fill that in, but there was an old cistern between our building and the tax preparer's building there that looked like the sod had fell down, and looked down in it. I don't know whether it's an old cistern. It didn't look like it's big enough for a cistern, but I think there was probably a cistern because back in the day, I think that's what it is, and all the sod had fell down. We filled it in. We're gonna do get the wood or dirt and stuff and fill that back in and get that right. We just learned that just the other day, but the signage is what I was really in here to ask about, if there's any problem.
You'll just need to submit the sign permit, have the company who's doing the sign submit
Well,
the sign permit to the building inspector.
We've ordered the sign, and then we'll have Bob Scott and his son is gonna be, they're electricians. They'll be installing
So
it for
they
us.
should just apply for the sign permit from the building inspector, from Steve Haig, and he'll approve
Okay,
it.
okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you might want to get those over as soon as possible, just in case there's any issues with
Right,
that.
we're just getting ready to, before we ordered, I wanted to.
Very good
double
idea.
check.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments, citizens' comments? Okay, if not, we'll move on to the approval of the meeting minutes from April 9th. If anyone has any objections, please let us know. If not, they will stand as submitted. We have no consent items tonight. We'll move on to the presentations of accounts and claims.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the council of the city of Boonville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the city of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on April 15, 2024. The sum of $560,060.93. General fund, $103,755.74. Sanitation, $22,475.84. CIP tax, $90,843.85. Waterworks, $138,445.06. Capital projects, $61.92. Wastewater, $164,854.76. Tourism, $6,666.76. Gaming, $30,957.00. Parks and Water, $2,000. Kemper Sales Tax, $0.00. Economic Development Projects, $0.00. Section 2, the accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $560,060.93, being the total amount of money being appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. First reading on April 15, 2024, read for the second time this April 15, 2024, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Do we have a motion?
Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion that we approve this ordinance.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Drew. Roll call.
Elbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Atkinson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Overstreet, Yoder,
Yes.
Cowherd,
Yes.
Harville.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Moving on, we have no unfinished business tonight. Moving on to new business. We have a couple of first readings tonight, so we'll start with the first reading of bill number 2024-05, amending chapter 3 and 14, Public Consumption Bill Code of Ordinances.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending Chapter 14, Offenses, Miscellaneous, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Okay, moving on, we'll do the first reading of bill number 2024-06, approving a preliminary site plan for Top Dog LLC located at 213 East Ashley Road in Boonville.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, approving the preliminary site plan for Top Dog LLC located at 213 East Ashley Road, Boonville, Cooper County, Missouri, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to C, consider resolution R 2024-5, authorizing and approving an agreement with Tri-Smith Construction LLC for VER taxi lane reconstruction. This is on page 14.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving an agreement between Tri-Smith Construction LLC and the City of Boonville, Missouri pertaining to VER taxi lane construction and providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the City of Boonville has solicited and received bids for this project and determined that Tri-Smith Construction LLC represents the best bid pursuant to the purchasing code set forth in Section 2-20 of the City of Boonville Code of Ordinances. Therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between Vance Brothers,
Oh, that should say, I'm sorry. That should be Tri-Smith.
Tri-Smith
Tri-Smith.
Construction. Hold on, let me fix that one here. So I don't. Okay, Section 1, that a certain agreement between Tri-Smith Construction, Inc. and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to VER taxi lane construction, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A, is attached hereto and made a part hereof, is hereby approved. Section 2, the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval past this 15th day of April 2024 by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion that we approve this resolution.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion? Okay, do we have a timeline on this particular project?
No, because part of our conversation with the bidders was that we were more interested in getting an advantageous price versus the speed, so they're gonna look at their calendars. Tri-Smith is looking at their calendar to see if they can fit it in this year, which is our preference. But if their schedule's too tight, we don't wanna like do half of it and be stuck, so then we'll end up waiting until next spring. So hopefully we're gonna get them to start in August, that's our goal.
Okay. If it doesn't happen this year, are we guaranteed to get it done next year?
Yes, because we'll approve the bid and we'll have a contract signed, it's just that the start date won't be till like April of '25.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Atkinson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Overstreet, Yoder,
Yes.
Cowherd,
Yes.
Harville.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Consider resolution 2024-06, authorizing application of funds through MoDOT's TAP program for Phase 2 Highway 5 sidewalk. This is on page 17.
A resolution authorizing the City of Boonville's application for funds through MoDOT Transportation Alternative TAP Program and authorizing the submission of an application relating to the proposed Phase 2 Highway 5 sidewalk improvement. Whereas there are no sidewalks on Highway 5 Ashley Road allowing for safe pedestrian access, whereas development along Highway 5 Ashley Road has increased and the need for safe pedestrian access is necessary. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, at a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Boonville held on April 15, 2024, the City Council endorsed the submittal of the Transportation Alternative Program application for the proposed Boonville sidewalk improvements along Highway 5 Phase 2. Section 3, the City Council further acknowledges the TAP program could include 80% of the project cost, and the City of Boonville would be responsible for any remaining costs. Section 3, that the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 4, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval.
Do we have a motion?
Mayor Pro Tem, I move that we approve this resolution.
I second it. Thank you, Barry. We have a first and a second. Discussion.
Do we have a timeline on this one? Is
So
this,
this is just approve, so with the TAP programs, you have to approve the application before we even submit it. So, but the way the TAP funds work, like the Phase 1 that we have, we won't even do construction until 25. So this is like, we'll get approved in 25 and construction in 26. And
thought that-
yeah, and our intention is just to keep running down
Okay, cool.
Ashley Road until we get it all
Yeah,
done.
so we're working from, essentially from pilot VHS northward.
Correct.
Okay.
And we may end up leapfrogging if it becomes advantageous for us at some point where all of a sudden we come back this way and meet in the middle, but for now, yeah.
Roll call.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
yes.
Atkinson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Overstreet, Yoder,
Yes.
Cowherd,
Yes.
Harville.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Section E, consider resolution 2024-07, authorizing and approving an agreement with Capital Paving and Construction LLC for roadway improvements 2024. This is on page 19.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri authorizing and approving an agreement between Capital Paving Construction LLC and the City of Boonville, Missouri pertaining to roadway improvements 2024 and providing an effective date therefor. Whereas the City of Boonville has solicited and received bids for this project and determined that Capital Paving and Construction LLC represents the best bid pursuant to purchasing code set forth in section 2-20 of the City of Boonville Code of Ordinances. Therefore, be resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between Capital Paving and Construction LLC and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to the roadway improvement 2024, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A is attached hereto and made a part hereof is hereby approved. Section 2, that the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval past the 15th day of April 2024, read by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Thank you, Amber. Do we have a motion?
Mayor Pro Tem, I move we approve this resolution.
I'll second it.
Thank you. We have Whitney and Drew. Discussion.
So, Kate, quick question. Is this gonna take care of any of the way down by, like, High Street, Main Street Diner, where you kind of like the brick and the asphalt?
I think there is a portion of that included in the project because I had asked them to look at that,
Okay.
where it's like
Yeah.
really low. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think Morgan's kind of the same way, where it dips right by.
yep.
Okay.
So that will address those.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question too. So it says like roadway improvements 2024, a copy which is marked Exhibit A is attached. So is there like an attachment that has like the specific information of the road improvements for 2024?
I have the map itself for what we include here is the bid tab, because that's the award that we're giving, so we let people see the prices, but the project itself I have, and you can come in or I could share. I think I shared it with you guys afterwards. You asked me
Yeah.
some questions and I sent
Is
it out.
like that attachment with like the specifics of like what he's asking about, like High Street, for example, are like those items like available to the public?
They're not posted publicly, but if anyone ever asks us, we have them all
Okay.
available for viewing.
Maybe going forward, if we could have maps showing just for reference as to what this, it might be helpful. I mean, as me being a visual person, I do like seeing kind of the picture of
Okay,
what we're going.
we can
but-
do that.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Atkinson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Overstreet, Yoder,
Yes.
Cowherd,
Yes.
Harville.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Report of standing committees. We have a report tonight from P and Z. You can look at this on page 22. Drew, do we have an update from you?
Yeah, so meetings, notes are in the packet. First reading of Top Dog unanimously moved through, so hopefully we can get that moving forward fairly quickly, so. That's all I got.
Okay. Any other questions or comments regarding the P and Z meeting? Okay, thank you, Drew. Okay, moving on to reports of city officials, city administrator.
Just have a couple things. So first, Brad is back there. And I want to take a moment, if council has any questions about the cleanup language on item A of new business, the first reading of bill number 2024-05, I'm going to give him the floor for just a minute, and then if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
Good evening.
Yeah, just like Kate said, the main thing was to kind of address if anyone had any questions. If you all will recall, we recently passed the revisions for chapters 3 and 14 to include recreational marijuana and how we were going to restrict that within the community, where it was going to mirror the same restrictions that were applied to alcohol. And there were several very good questions that were brought up about how do we approach this moving forward. Everything passed, and thus far, unless Chief Ayers corrects me, we haven't had really any issues with it. We've had a few tickets that have come in, but in looking back over this, I found some ambiguity in section 1490, and it was primarily, that's the open container ordinance. And although we expanded it to include marijuana, the use of marijuana in public, there was some ambiguity as to when or where it could be permitted. And then as I kind of went down that rabbit hole, we ran into some other issues that actually go all the way back to alcohol with the way that 1490 was originally written. For example, a lot of times local businesses would like to have a sip and shop where they would have customers come in and they don't have a liquor license, but they would offer a free glass of wine or something if they shopped. So long as that wasn't part of the sale of any good or item, it didn't have any conflict with state law. But the way 1490 was originally written, technically that was an open container because it was within a business or an establishment that didn't have a liquor license. And a lot of businesses in town have done that for years with no problems because they were in line with state statute. So it was important, and what the only things that we added was when a property owner gives permission for the use, then it's not a conflict with an open container ordinance. Another good example is we've had several different wedding venues that have opened up in town or changed hands in town, and there are several wedding venues that have been in town, or reception halls, not just wedding receptions, where they do the BYOB. Well, technically, under the old 1490, or as it exists right now, that would have been an open container. Even though property owner said, it's fine, you're on your own, sign a release, so I'm not liable, technically it was still a business open to the public that did not have a license. So we are clarifying that in regards to alcohol to better safeguard private property owners and building owners, to more clearly define the ordinance for law enforcement so they know what they can or can't enforce. After the original ordinance, or the ordinance including the revisions, was passed, I had a meeting with the police department, and we had a good conversation, but we had some really good questions come up about, okay, well, what happens if a person is in Walmart parking lot? You know, that's privately owned, but it's accessible to the public. Well, that's an open container if someone says, hey, these guys are out in the parking lot drinking. Law enforcement has the right to say, hey, you can't do that here, you're gonna be subject to a ticket. But then we also had the scenarios of private property owners that would permit consumption of alcohol or use of marijuana on that property. And if the property owner with the proposed revisions permits it, then it's fine, because everything else is legal. If they say, no, you can't do that here, that property owner now has the authority or the permit, can call law enforcement and say, hey, I've told this guy, don't use that here, don't do that here, don't drink that here. And then now that gives law enforcement probable cause to come in and say, hey, I've got an issue. Another scenario is if you have a place that has an alcohol or a liquor license, and let's say, use the cliche, they cut somebody off. They say, you're not drinking anymore, we're not selling you anything. And that person decides they go out to their car, get a little airplane bottle, or they decide they're gonna try to light up and say, it's not happening here. Now they have the ability to call law enforcement, and law enforcement can come in and say, you've been told you don't have permission to do that here. So the main goal with the revisions was literally just to give some more protection to the property owners and to more clearly define this for law enforcement so they knew what they could or couldn't do. And then we changed, the only additions was except when permitted by the property owner in A, except when permitted by the property owner in B, and then in D, we added recreational marijuana and when permitted by the property owner. D is what applies to places that are licensed to sell alcohol. So if a bar wants to say, we don't have a problem with use of recreational marijuana, that's their authority, or that's their leisure as a property owner. But if they say, no, you can't do it, you can't do it. But I, quite frankly, would rather have somebody, a property owner, give permission knowing they're protected by the law than having people go sit on the park bench or sit in a public parking lot and drink or smoke. So that was the main goal. We've only changed a few words in each of these sections, but after visiting with police department, it was clear I need to better define that part. So does anybody have any questions?
I've got two. So the first one is, you were talking about the, business owners could allow that. On Main Street, for instance, where does that property end? Is it at the door, or is it so far out to the sidewalk?
So it would be, in that particular scenario, and I'm glad you brought that up because I can kind of expand on that a little bit. It would be at the door, inside, the way that the first part or section A is written, inside a business open to the public or an establishment open to the public. If that place decides that they want to have a sip and shop, or we've had hair salons in town that you say, hey, you can have a free glass of wine while you wait. The way it's written now, that person that was consuming the wine that was permitted by the property owner would have been subject to an open container. The flip side of that, when they're out on the sidewalk, they're subject to an open container. Unless, for example, when we do the wine walk uptown the last couple summers, there has to be a variance or permission from the city to, we're going to excuse or permit open containers from, let's just say, Main Street from Vine to High, but only on Main Street. So if people decide they're going to drink in a city parking lot, off of that, they're going to be subject to an open container. It's clearly defined. And so that was the goal. Because we were like, okay, well, if you're in a door, the property owner, that's private property rights. We're not going to get so invasive that we're going to tell people what they can or can't do within their business, particularly when it's permitted by state law.
Okay, makes sense. Okay. So my second question is, and I don't think this had anything to do with your changes, but it just caught my eye reading through here. The second line there says non-intoxicating beer. Are we talking like NA beers?
So that was in the original ordinance. I mean, that's the archaic language from eons ago. So non-intoxicating beer, I don't know, Randy, have you ever seen an open container given for a NA beer? Yeah, that's probably,
Well,
I mean, it's a valid question. I didn't touch that language. When we first made the revisions and I brought this before the council, I didn't want to completely rewrite the law. I wanted to clean up what we needed to, and initially it was just to include recreational marijuana. So quite frankly, I didn't even I wasn't paying any credence to non-intoxicating beer. But yes, that would be a Busch NA or, and,
Well, I mean, that's what I drink now personally. And I know it's getting big. I mean, you go to Hy-Vee, they've got a whole big section for it now. So I just don't know, I mean, if you're cleaning it up, is that something worth
if you're
cleaning up?
what?
While you're messing with this, is that worth
Well,
cleaning up since
so-
it is kind of becoming a bigger thing?
Actually, if, for those that were here when we first did these revisions, I had already proposed to the council, I'm gonna be coming back to this probably every year. Because the use of recreational marijuana is still brand new. And it's a learning curve for us on how we're gonna work that. Fortunately, it's mirroring alcohol, so every time we look at, okay, what do we do or what don't we do, we're gonna come back. So I don't think that that's a problem with cleaning some of that up, but it also then begs the question, when is there a situation where we have to ask ourselves, is that permitted or not? And then, as we go down, is law enforcement actually gonna enforce that?
Okay.
I'll just add to that two things. One, I mean, any change like that, we would just have to double check with the state statute to see if it's in
Yeah.
line, because we have to stay in line. And then, on a related note, I was gonna tell you that we have the RFP out right now for our attorneys, and one of the first things that whomever it is the whole ordinance book really needs revisions. There's just lots of little things. I think it still has the wrong training academy for police or wrong qualifications. It just needs an update, so that's gonna be one of the first things. I'm just gonna say, start at chapter 1 and just keep on keeping on. So, I think it'll certainly get addressed then, if not somewhere else in this conversation, and other things too that are cleanup issues.
Any other questions?
I just thought you did a good job. Excellent
Oh,
presentation.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
Thank
Brad.
you.
And if anyone has questions between now and the second reading, and you want some additional explanation, you know how to find me. So, thank you.
And then my last comment for the night is I just wanted to recognize that, in case you didn't hear, that Tim Carmichael applied for a last round of a grant. So there's nothing in the packet on it. We just found out recently, but he is receiving $115,000. So we're going to be able to buy the SCBA units for the entire fire department this year with that. And then our match. Our match is 115 also. So it's a 50-50 match, but nonetheless, if you recall, we've been buying 8 a year. They are expired, but they work, so I feel like I wanted to put that comment in there, but this is just a good way for us to get up in compliance, and then once we get them, we'll probably look with the new fire chief, because probably Tim won't be around in 15 years or 10 years when they expire, to start earlier on the repurchasing, so we're not stuck in the same spot. So anyways, kudos to Tim for putting that grant in.
Excellent. Anything else?
Nope.
Good. Amber, city clerk?
No.
Nothing from the city clerk? Just a few things from the mayor pro tem. One, we have a few board appointments. If you would look at page 24, the Boonville Housing Authority Board, we are offering up Peggy Carney to be nominated for that role. So I'll need a motion for that.
We can do both motions at the same time.
Okay, so one would be Peggy Carney for Boonville Housing Authority, and the other one would be Ernie Uliger for P&Z. And we will need one motion for both of these appointments.
Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion that we appoint Peggy Carney to the VHA.
And
And
I thought it had to be separate.
Nope, you know
I'm
them all
sorry.
together.
For both of them, they
Ernie Uliger, thank you.
I second.
Thank you. Any questions or discussions? Roll call?
Albert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Atkinson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Overstreet, Yoder,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Arnold.
Yes.
Great. And then just one more thing, if you would turn your attention to page 27 of the packet. So we have a very nice letter from a citizen of Boonville, Mrs. Linda Klein. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. So she praised the fire department for their great community service. So Fire Chief Timmy, thank you and your team for that. I know you guys provide a lot of good work, and we do appreciate that. That is all from me tonight.
miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous, anyone around the room?
Yep, I've got something.
Yes, Brad.
So, last week, the school advisory board at St. Peter and Paul Parish School on 7th Street, I am a member of that board, for clarity. The other board members had brought up there was some issues with traffic flow there, through there for school drop-off that morning. At one time, I know there was some back and forth of one-ways there, or a trial period of one-ways there, and I understand it was pulled down. They were asking if something else could be done, or wanting clarification on why it was, so I went up and started asking, and found out that there is still a one-way sign marked. It's only marked for the afternoon session of school, but it is only visible when you are traveling to the east on Spring Street. If you're traveling to the west on Spring Street, or if you're traveling south on 7th Street, you can't see any signs. So I think that's kind of a miss. So I was instructed that we just needed to, or Jeff rather, instructed me to come here and said that after we talked about it and looked at it, we thought maybe a do not enter sign with particular times from, I think, 7:30 to 8 a.m. in the morning, and then keep with the same thing in the afternoon, then 2:45 to 3 or whatever it is, and post it on 7th Street facing north. Then that way, I think it would be more visible for everybody, and maybe that'll cut down on some of those issues that there's been. So, according to Jeff, I guess the council needed to approve that, or he thought.
If we're not changing the flow, we probably don't need it. I mean, because we're not changing the one-way, we're retaining the one-way, we're just gonna add signage, so we can do that.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
But now you all know.
I thought we were gonna put like some kind of like a basic sign that would change during the times, or we had talked about this before. I went door to door down that street.
Yeah, I heard it was a point of contention in the past.
And
That's before me.
I had one person that was for keeping it one way. Every other person that lives on that block said they didn't want it.
Yeah, and I totally get not wanting it one way full time. That makes complete sense.
Yeah, but I thought we were doing some kind of video, or is there some kind of signage? Something that would basically flash during those times or something? I don't know. I mean,
I don't recall that, but that doesn't mean,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it wasn't talked about, I just don't recall.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a big to-do, as I told you.
yeah. I mean, I really think that what he's talking about, we do need another sign.
Okay.
There's no doubt about that. But the actual flashing or something during those times, I don't know. Something else to bring attention to it if we could, but I don't know what that is.
Yep. Okay. I think we will probably initially start with a low-tech sign, and then if it continues to be a problem, we can look at flashing, only because they're expensive.
Oh, I bet.
So,
Yeah.
we'll start with the low-tech that is cheaper and then work our way up.
One comment on that, as you exit the drop-off line, we need the sign replaced by the school, which says no left turn out of the drop-off.
Okay.
It's faded to, it's essentially metal at this point. So that would help too, because as you exit
Yeah,
drop-off,
absolutely.
we want everyone to flow north.
Yep, absolutely. So is that a city purchase, or is that something
That's their sign.
school? Okay, we'll take care of it.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks.
Anything else under miscellaneous? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Whitney. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay.